3 gears down, third gear. 6-speed gearbox. Road racing at its finest, through the trees, 85 feet of elevation changes, and 200 miles an hour down the front straight here, chasing Bobby Rahal. It's the apex, third gear corner. There's sixth. Stands on the brakes. See Rahal get sideways in front of him? That's the sign to a driver. Maybe Rahal is beginning to wear out those rear tires. Slowest corner on the racetrack coming up. 50 miles an hour at the apex.
There's one lap with Brian Herta. Derek, you raced Indy cars and a lot of other heavy equipment here at Road America. I raced the Formula 4 at June Sprints a lot of times. Let me tell you, for the IndyCar, those straightaways are a lot shorter than I remember. Boy, do they get down them.
They do, and to a man, they love coming to Road America for the variety of corners. Look at this up under the bridge. Some cars went flat through that left-hander. It's never been done before here at Road America, but that new surface has given a lot of grip to these cars.
And while we've been watching Brian Herta, no battles on the course, but a battle in top speeds. Jacques Villeneuve up the ante to 134.2 at 34.4, and then Andre Ribeiro reacted at 134.9, and then Jacques Villeneuve jumped up to that, and Ribeiro just ran a lap at 135.7. "14 laps are now complete at Road America, the Texaco Havoline 200. Here's the battle among the engine manufacturers, with Ford leading it right now, but Mercedes-Benz occupying second and third. And battle of top speeds continues too, as Ribeiro and his Honda has been spectacular. Here's the move on Rahal.
Well, we saw Rahal do that down the inside earlier, protecting that position. Now Brian Herta forced to go down the outside, and thankfully he didn't fight all the way to the apex because Rahal had the room, but he is under pressure again, is Bobby Rahal. Oh, look at Vassar.
Vassar looks for room alongside of his teammate. Inside, outside, can't find it.
See, there's the problem. When Herta makes a move on Rahal, he gives up the ideal racing line, which allows Jimmy Vassar, look at that twitch from Vassar, to close up. And Ribeiro has a grandstand view of all of this target crashing and bashing going on ahead of him.
We'll keep an eye on this fight and on the leader, Jacques Villeneuve. In the meantime, Gary Gerald.
We were checking on that concern we mentioned just before green about that sensor on the shifting mechanism that caused all kinds of problems this morning in the half-hour warm-up session. Thus far, it does not appear to be a problem. No negative comments from the cockpit on the radio from Jacques Villeneuve. Now, how did that yellow flag impact the fuel situation? Let's check with Jan on that aspect.
Well, Gary, the yellow flag should have extended the fuel stop, so we just heard from Jim Hall that Gilles Deferrin, who currently runs second, the crew, as we speak, are rolling out the tires. It looks like he's coming in on lap 15, which we think would be earlier. Most of the other guys will be in on lap 17. Another note, Gilles Deferrin may have lost the clutch. Could be a big problem here for the first pit stop.
At the top of the order, Jacques Villeneuve just turned a lap at 136.2 as he ups that ante on the top speed of the race. Of course, the car going light now as Eric Bachelard comes into the pits. He started 25th, running 15th as he came into the pits, and we are on the 15th lap. So that would be a little bit early, especially considering the yellow flag lap. Anticipation is now, most of the cars will at least wait until lap 17.
Villeneuve mentioned at the top of the show, the cooler the better for us because we have low downforce. and we had a cloud cover come over here and bury the strong sunshine just before the start of this race. And believe it or not, the slight temperature drop does make a difference. Yesterday we had a spectacular qualifying session because with 7 minutes to go we had cloud cover, the temperature went down, and in the last 7 cars that went across the line, each of them took the pole position, with Villeneuve being the very last man across the line.
Carlos Guerrero, Marco Greco, they both come into the pits, routine service on lap 15. As yet, no indication from any of the leaders' pits that they would stop on 16, so it clearly appears they'll go at least 17 laps before that stop. Except for DeFerrin, who makes his turn. Let's see how big a problem he may have, Jan Beekes.
Paul, he's on his way in. He's going to be bringing that Pennzoil Reynard to a stop. He stops it right on the marks, but the problem for Gilles DeFerrin is going to be getting out of here. They're going to make no chassis adjustments. Very happy with the machine at the moment. But remember, right now he's trying to pump the clutch. He's trying to get it to work. They're going to try and push him. Let's listen. See if he can get away. Yeah, they're going to have to try and get him up to speed. He gets it into gear. Not too bad. Gilles DeFerrin, the crew is celebrating. He's underway.
Not only his crew, but everybody else seemed happy that he got out of there without incident. So, Gilles DeFerrin, now the clutch is not an issue any longer. He won't use it from now on.
No, it's not until he comes into the pit lane next time. Now, he was just about 3 seconds slower behind Jacques Villeneuve, but that precious couple of seconds he lost while they push-started him may be costly, and we can measure that when Jacques Villeneuve makes his stop.
About a 13.5-second stop for Gilles DeFerrin. So, in and out in good time, as Jacques Villeneuve, the leader of the race, has now completed his 16th lap. And his crew begins to anticipate by setting some tires up on the edge of the wall, but not yet over. Raoul Boisel moves up to second place. Gilles DeFerrin came out of the pits in third. Paul Tracy is fourth. Christian Fittipaldi is fifth.
What a familiar color scheme this is now leading these races, and obviously fuel consumption is something this team works very, very hard on, and they do it as good as anybody. Barry Green's team here again showing just how fuel efficient this player's Reynard is as Jacques Villeneuve continues to run away from everybody.
Raoul Boisel comes into the pits. Christian Fittipaldi comes into the pits. Let's go to Jan Beekes.
Raoul Boisel is now getting his service. We checked with Carl Hogan. They're expecting to make no changes. His team owner just went past him. Bobby Rahal also in here, and Teo Bobby just ahead of him. He's waiting for the last bit of fuel. He's anxious to get out of here. Raoul Boisel lights up the tires, and he's gone.
All of these stops being made on leader lap 17, with, of course, the exception of the leader. Jacques Villeneuve stays out.
And Christian Fittipaldi, as you can see, gets out ahead of Bobby Rahal. So that has become almost a battle in the pit lane, because Rahal, to my mind, made up an enormous amount of time on Christian Fittipaldi there.
Well, this will be the question mark now. Suggested that Team Green gets really good fuel mileage, but do they get an extra 4 miles? Can they get this done? He's still got a considerable section of race course to go.
And of course, remember, the more laps he runs with this nice light fuel load, the faster he goes, as opposed to everybody else who just about has a full tank of fuel and he still runs light.
And he still has the fastest lap of the race at 136.2 miles an hour.
And he set that just 2 laps ago. So Jacques Villeneuve, no trouble here. No trouble with tires. Our car, will he come in this time?
And there he is. So Jack heads into the pits. He is the first pit at the top of the hill that is open and available, and Gary Gerald waits for him.
He's got a wide open shot as he comes in here and perfectly spots it right on the line, and immediately you hear those air guns go to work. This crew has been sensational this year. They won the pit competition at Indianapolis. They won a race, the season opener in the pits at Miami. He's rolling. We've got him in 12.5 seconds. Good and clean and routine for Jacques Villeneuve.
Paul Tracy came in at the same time, and he's completed his stop, but he falters. Paul Tracy kills the engine as he starts to roll out. We watch Jacques Villeneuve. There's Paul Tracy as they try to get it restarted, Jan. Gary?
We're watching. Now they get it fired, and he's gone, but it took them a long time. He's going to have lost a lot of positions that he worked so hard to gain, and with that foot hurting him so badly, this is one of the key situations. Dumping the clutch, getting out of the pits. That's what gives him the most discomfort with that broken foot.
You're absolutely right, Gary. 3 times this morning in the warm-up, Paul Tracy's foot was so painful, he could not modulate the clutch pressure, and he stalled it. Now he does it again at the critical time in the race. But here's a critical time of the race also. Now we see the time that was wasted by Gilles de Ferran. And Eddie Cheever's in the gravel trap.
Eddie Cheever off into the gravel. It'll take a tow to get that car out of there. Here's apparently how he got there.
Under braking, as Bachelor slides down the inside, and he makes contact. Yes, he does make contact with Eddie Cheever. Sends him on his way to the gravel trap. And when you get buried axle deep, you never drive out, and that brings out a full course yellow.
And they'll have to get the safety vehicles out, and when they do that and set them astride the race course and partially on the gravel pit, then they definitely want to go full course yellow. So Jacques Villeneuve is still the leader of the race. He's led right from the start, but look how far up Parker Johnstone's come. Eliseo Salazar just been in and out of the pits and then rolled to a stop at the edge of the course. We are still under the full course caution as a result of Eddie Cheever and Eric Bachelard getting together and sending Eddie Cheever off into the gravel pit. So while they tow him out of there, everyone will once again line up behind the PPG pace car and Johnny Rutherford. Jacques Villeneuve is the leader of the race under yellow, then Raoul Boisel, then Gilles de Ferran, Christian Fittipaldi, and Brian Herta. Here they are as they come through the field.
So Gilles de Ferran's pit stop, we had spoken about that earlier, was costly, even though he did manage to get out. That precious couple of seconds he lost when he didn't have the burst of acceleration cost him that second place to Raoul Boisel. Quick look at Salazar earlier on, very lucky to get that car into the race at all because he had a big crash this morning in the warm-up, and Dick Simon's boys did well to rebuild that car for Eliseo Salazar.
Paul Tracy's falter in the pits was costly too as he fell to 6th place. 7th is Bobby Rahal, and then Teo Bobby, Jimmy Vasser, and Andre Rivero.
And you can see also that Brian Herta's crew did an exceptionally good job to put him up into 5th place.
Driver out of the race, Robbie Gordon. He's had a tough day on Beacus.
That's right, Paul. Very tough day for Robbie Gordon. What finally put you out?
Gearbox trying to leave pit lane. As soon as I popped it in gear, it broke. It's unfortunate because we did have a pretty good car after all the trouble we went through all weekend. You know, we were having a very hard time on the straightaways. We weren't hanging with the guys, so it made it really hard to overtake under braking. And that's how we went off one time. And then the other time at the start, you know, we got by 4 or 5 cars at the start. We were doing pretty good, and somebody clipped tires from me and just knocked me out into the gravel. You know, we would have liked to have got a better finish with the Valvoline car this weekend, but, you know, there's always next weekend at the street circuit, and that's where we won our last race, so we're looking forward to going back there.
Well, it's a great bit of off-road driving. Sorry you're out so early. Paul?
So Robbie Gordon out as they try to get Eddie Cheever's car out, but apparently Eddie thinks he can get it restarted and re-going because he's going to stay tight in the cockpit. Maybe they can bump start it on the tow. We'll be back. Back at the Texaco Haviland 200, Road America, 4 miles around, 14 turns. We have a full course caution underway.